What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training. And today we're going to break down how I would correct bad route running, okay? So we're going to be talking about a bad press release off the line of scrimmage and how I would correct it, and a good example of a press release, and then a bad top of the route move and how I would correct that and show an example of a good move at the top of the route. So I hope this video helps you guys out. I hope it shows you kind of both sides of the spectrum and how wide receivers can improve on those most common mistakes that they make. But also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver or even a quarterback and you'd like to get some work in with us this offseason, we're going to be traveling to 9 different cities for 2-day quarterback, wide receiver, and DB training camp. So we're coming out to Tampa, Florida first, coming out there this weekend. Then we're coming to Houston, Texas, Phoenix, Arizona, Newark, New Jersey, Atlanta, Georgia, Chicago, Illinois, Dallas, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, and Los Angeles, California. So if you guys want some more information about our camps, how spots are going to be limited, we're keeping things small so we can actually coach you guys on each rep and help your skills improve rather than just run you through drills. Check out that very first link in the description below. We have all the sign-up info for you guys down there. Spots are limited, like I said, so I hope we can get you guys on that. Let's get started with this video. So now, first things first here, we're looking at this kind of like hesitation hop move here from Hogan. So the main thing I want to talk about here is actually being able to step outside the DB's frame to be able to get some space. And then we're looking at this route from Garrett Wilson. So these are the two examples. Now, pretty much same release, right? They both have to run fades. They're both kind of in tight. They're both like on the goal line, or not in the goal line, but in the red zone, I should say. So to get a DB to move on a press release, what do you think is important? A, we have to step outside of his frame, right? So I can't be stepping inside of his frame. I can't stay inside of his shoulders because he's not going to move, especially at this level, especially at the NFL level. Guys will not move if you do not threaten them in a certain direction, right? So I have to threaten him to the inside. I have to step outside of his frame to get him to try to move off of that platform. So you see when Hogan decides to go with this move, he kind of does that, but at the same time, his upper body doesn't really sell. He's not throwing his hip into this break. He's not throwing that upper half fake into it because that's where the DB is watching. So A, I have to step outside of his frame, and Hogan kind of does that, but B, that DB is watching my hips. So if I don't actually sell with my hips, if I don't actually sell with that upper half, I will not get a DB to move. DBs are disciplined. DBs are taught to stay disciplined and watch those hips. They call it eye discipline for a reason, right? So if I don't sell with that upper half and I don't actually throw my hip into it like I'm doing a crossover, that DB will not move. He will stay square. He'll be able to get hands, squeeze me right to the sideline, and I'm not going to have any space. So how would we go about correcting this, right? How would I go about correcting this? What I would tell this wide receiver to do is the same thing I'm saying. You want to throw your hip into this break. You actually want to throw that upper half. So we look at this route from Garrett Wilson. Kind of the same idea. To get this DB to jump off the platform and think slant, I have to actually step and threaten him slant, but my upper body has to move as well. So when we come off of this thing, you see how when he works to the inside, what does he do? He's throwing that hip into the break. He's stepping outside the frame, but look at his hips and his shoulders. Look at the difference of this and the release that Hogan did. There's two completely different movements with the upper half, and which one works? This one works and gets the DB to stutter. This one works and gets the DB to be flat-footed. That's how we win that race. That's how we get back to the back corner of the end zone. So we have to make sure, fellas, that I'm selling with my upper half. Your upper half is what gets you separation. You have to be sudden with the lower half. You have to step outside of his frame. You have to stay inside of your frame. Obviously, you don't want to be reaching, but the upper half is the key to everything. And now the mistake that a lot of guys will make is, again, he's selling like this, shoulders and hips are fully committed. A lot of guys think they sell with their upper half. They think like, oh, if I just give a lean with my shoulders and head, if I just give a little lean, that's not going to get this guy to jump. He's watching your hips. His eyes are not supposed to be high. So you have to commit your hips. You have to commit your shoulders, commit the torso to get that guy to jump, and then that could get me a ton of separation back to the outside. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Wilson selling to the inside and doing a great example of that, how that press release should look. Okay, so now we're looking at this dig route here from, I believe this is Allen Robinson. I'm not 100% sure here. Yeah, this is Allen Robinson. Now, again, he's one of the best route runners in the game. Like, this is just a bad rep, and this is just, and it happens, right? And again, I show this because I want to explain to you guys that sometimes some of the best in the world, some top 10 in the world at their craft, sometimes make mistakes and sometimes do things incorrectly. And we're just going to talk about how you can correct that. You always, no matter what level of football you're at, fellas, youth, high school, 5-star wide receiver, you can always get better. You never want to be that guy who's like, oh, I'm good enough. I can't stand it when guys will message me or ask questions or whatever, and they say, oh, I'm good enough on the route runnings, but I need to improve my hands. Oh, I'm good enough on the catching, but I need to improve my route. You're never good enough. That's the mindset that you need to have. That's the mindset that all the greats have, is that they're never good enough. They can always get better. They can always improve in those certain aspects of the game. If you were good enough, you'd be the best receiver to ever play the game, but you're not good enough, right? There's always somebody better, so you can always get better at those certain aspects. So when he gets up into the top of this route, why this route wasn't the best route is because because like if I got an inside shade DB maybe who's turned, to get him to bail out of there, I really have to sell fade, right? Because like if I got a dig route and he's inside shade like this, I'm attacking the outside shoulder, I'm trying to get his hips to flip, and then I slip back under. So what he does right here is before the break point, he kind of raises his pad level up. You see how he's got great arm drive, and you see how he kind of raises his pad level up, and then he starts to make this break like 3 steps, like maybe like 2 to 3 yards before he actually has to, right? That's going to get this DB to sit the entire time on this route. When he raises up, when you start to slow down, when you start to raise your pad level up in the air, that DB no longer believes that it's a fade, right? DBs think that it's a fade based off of 3 things. Your eyes have to be forward, your pad level has to be good, and you have to be in full stride / full speed. So if you could do those 3 things, that will get this DB to commit his hips and get him to run. And they call that not having an indicator. But when you have an indicator before you're about to make a break, before you're about to drop into a route, then he's going to sit and he's going to be all over this thing. So that's exactly what Allen Robinson does right here. He has an indicator. He raises his chest up. He starts chopping his stride down. He starts slowing down. And then that's going to make that DB slow down. And he is going to be all over this route and make a play, right? So let's watch it full speed. Then we're going to take a look at a route from Tyler Lockett where he does the exact opposite. No indicators. Stays in stride. Stays in speed. And you see the separation he's about to get. So now I understand that this is press coverage and that last one was more like a zone coverage concept, right? But the same thing applies, right? Every zone coverage at a certain point will turn into man. And you saw that DB, when he started turning and facing Allen Robinson, what was he looking at? He's watching his hips, right? So when we're in man coverage, whether it's press man, whatever, DB's going to be watching our hips. DB's going to be watching our torso. He's going to be looking at our body language. But the same things apply to be able to get him off the platform. The same things apply to be able to sell vertical and sell fade on this route, right? So that's exactly what he does. So he gets off into this route. You see how he dips his shoulder, but right before the break, I got to play his full speed. My bad, guys. So when he comes off, bam, sudden drop. There's no indicator. He's got speed into the route. That's what it takes to be able to get separation. That's what it takes to be able to get that DB to think that you're running deep. It's all about pad level, body language, and speed / stride, right? So when he comes up into it, let's break it down. So he's coming up vertical. Eyes are straight forward. He's got great speed. His hips and his shoulders are committed fade. That's what gets that DB to turn his hips and run. At no point was that DB settling down to try to make a break until Tyler Lockett made this break, right? Until Tyler Lockett dropped those hips and made that tight cut. And you see that DB doesn't have enough time to react. So many people are so worried about DBs. Oh, well, if I do this, he's going to undercut the route. If I take this release, he's going to be in this position. Not if you sell the route. If you sell the route correctly and you get that DB to believe fade and you don't have an indicator on what you're trying to do, he will not be able to make a break. He will not be able to react in time. DB is the hardest position on the defensive side of things, I feel, because they're trying to react off of what we do at a very, very fast speed. And we are always going to be one step ahead of them. That's why good DBs are great and awesome players, because they have that great reaction ability off of us. But a lot of the times, it's about bad wide receiver play, not necessarily good DB play. We make the DBs look good if I don't do what I'm supposed to do. If I do what I'm supposed to do, DB ain't going to look good. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Tyler Lockett. So how I would correct that specific route is if you're raising up, if you're driving that pad level up, if you're starting to slow down, your mindset needs to be, I'm selling vertical, my hips and my shoulders are committed fade, I'm staying in stride, because that's what I need to do to get that DB to be full speed, to open his hips and run full speed, and then I can create space. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Lockett, selling fade, dropping those hips, and getting out of this route. All right, guys, we want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. We'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Always appreciate the feedback. Hope this video helped you guys out and taught you a few things just about good route running and bad route running. And again, fellas, if you're local to one of those 9 cities that we are traveling to, Tampa, Houston, Phoenix, Newark, Atlanta, Chicago, Dallas, Nashville, and Los Angeles, we would love to have you out to one of our camps. Spots are limited. Spots are going to be small because we actually want to coach you guys, not just run you through drills. Check out that very first link in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.